Have you wondered why? You've been saying affirmations consistently. You've been speaking the things you want to see. And no matter how many times you affirm things, you're not seeing them. You're not seeing them in your business. You're not seeing them in your personal life. And you want to know why you are not getting those results? Well, if that's the case, then today's live is for you. All right, so today I'm going to share with you first a story, and then from the story, I'm going to get into the lesson. All right, so with that, let's talk about the story. Back in 2014, or no, let's go back even further, a little bit further. Back in 2009, I was a single mom. It was just me and Gabriel at the time, my oldest, who's now 14. And I was in college full-time while also managing motherhood, managing independence at 19 years old, doing the best I could with that part of my life. And I had some things that I wanted to accomplish down the line, right? And so one of those things that I wanted to accomplish, in addition to getting my degree, in addition to bettering the quality of my life for not just me, but also for Gabriel, I wanted to become an author. And I talked about it all the time. I was an avid reader. I was somebody who loved to write. I actually was in school for English. I have my degree now in English literature. And I wanted to write stories, from fictional stories to telling my personal story, like a autobiography. I wanted to be an author. And so as I grew older, right, and I was like in my 20s, my early 20s, still in school, all that good stuff, I learned about affirmations. And I'm sure before then I knew about it, but I just really wasn't someone who was like affirming things because I didn't really understand the power, and I use power very loosely, of affirmations. And so when I learned about affirmations and I really started to understand the power of affirmations, every year I would set an affirmation and affirm things, right? So for me, one of the affirmations that I said was that I'm an author. I'm an author. I'm going to write my book this year. I am going to write a bestseller this year. 2012 is going to be the year that I write my bestseller. And not only did I affirm it in myself, but I posted about it because I understood that when you make a post about something, you have now a community of people who can hold you accountable about the thing that you shared. So every year around this time, January, February, I would post on my page the affirmation, right? I am an author of a best-selling book. I had titles, y'all. I had titles too of these books because I knew in my heart that I was going to be an author. And the crazy thing was, no matter how determined I was to write this book, 2012, 2013, 2014, I didn't write a book. And I was trying to understand, why is it that I continued to affirm things that I wanted to see, but I wasn't seeing the things that I was affirming? If you can relate to that, let me know. I want you to put that in the comments. Ashlee, I understand. Ashlee, I understand. And if you are watching this replay, that's fine. You can put it in the comments too, replay. Ashlee, I understand. And so I was trying to affirm these things and I wasn't seeing them. And I'm not talking about, oh, and then in 2015 I became an author. No, I did not become an author in 2015 either. I continued to affirm being an author, but I did not become an author in 2015. And so I continued to go to school. I continued to take care of my son. I continued to prioritize life as life, progressed. And in 2020, right? So look at the timeline from 2009, when I wanted to be an author, but I didn't know anything about affirmations, to about 2014, when I learned about affirmations and I started to affirm myself as an author, to 2020, right? So like over 10 years, I finally had a coming to Jesus moment with God during the pandemic. If you had a coming to Jesus moment with God during the pandemic, put it in the comments. I want to know if I'm talking to my people, because not everybody understands what that looks like. And so I want to know that you understand what I'm talking about. Let me know. And so for me, that coming to Jesus moment looked like the world seemed crazy. Everybody was, losing their minds. Stores were running out of toilet paper. The kids were home. Oh my goodness. There was no daycare. There was no school. It was just me and the kids and Julian in a small, our apartment wasn't small, but it wasn't the space we have now. And it also wasn't the space that we needed. We needed more room. So we had WrestleMania happening in our living room every morning. Early in the morning, they're in the kitchen, in the living room, having a whole wrestle match, right? Naomi running around, doing her stuff, trying to fight with the boys, and her dad jumping on people's backs. It was chaos. And I'm sure if you have children during the pandemic, maybe you can relate to that. And for me, I was also a teacher. So for a while, we weren't teaching, but I think we stayed, we didn't teach virtually for maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then we started teaching virtually. So now I have the kids, and I have my students, right? My own family, my students, my obligations as a teacher, my obligations as a wife. Oh my goodness, so much going on. And so I found myself one morning in the bathroom, standing in the mirror, talking to God. And I'm like, okay, Father, I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but just in case the world ends, just in case Jesus is coming, I want to make sure that I am doing what you called me to do. I don't want to die with all this potential in me. I want to make sure that I'm showing up in the world, giving the things that you put on my heart to give, impacting the people that you put me here to impact. And I don't want to let anything stop me from doing that. And God, every year I say I'm going to write a book. And back in 2020, if I pull up my laptop, God, you know that I have books that I've started to write. But even though I'm affirming being an author, I've still not yet become an author. God, I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. Right? And so I had this very real and raw and honest conversation with God in 2020 in my bathroom, standing in the mirror. I don't know why that's where I was, but that's where I was. And listen, God was very clear. Ashlee, the reason why you're not where you want to be is not because you're not saying the things that you need to say, but it's because you don't believe the things that are being said. Your mindset is the weapon formed against you, causing you not to prosper. Now, in 2020, I didn't have the revelation that I'm about to share with you. In 2020, I just had the instruction that I needed to master my mindset, the beliefs that I have, in order for the words that I speak to lead to actions that get my desired results. So for me, I had to figure out, well, what do I believe? Because I'm saying I'm going to be an author, right? I'm saying that this is what I'm going to do. So why am I not doing it? What am I missing? And so what I realized, and I'm just trying to do some things on my end, y'all, please ignore what I'm doing, but what I realized was that the reason why I wasn't able to just say that I'm an author and write the books and publish the books and promote the books was because I didn't really believe that I was an author. I didn't have the mindset that was necessary in order for me to create the habits that were necessary in order for me to be an author. And so in 2020, I had to do some inner work. And I had to address the fact that the reason why I didn't believe that I was an author was because I didn't believe I had a story that other people wanted to hear. I didn't believe that I had an audience that was big enough to where if I wrote a book, people would want to buy it. And so because I didn't have those beliefs, no matter how many times I affirmed and affirmed and affirmed and affirmed that I was an author, I didn't finish a book. And in 2020, I made a decision that even with my small online community, I had about 200 on my Instagram, maybe like 500 on my Facebook, between my high school friends, my college friends, some friends of their friends, and my family. Like, maybe 500 is a stretch. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to write this book. I sat down in 7 days. Put in the comments how many days. 7 days. And I wrote my first book. And funny enough, it's not actually like a book where, you know, there's it's just text. It's actually a devotional and prayer journal. I think it's actually the one that I don't have. I have all my other books in front of me, but I do not have that one. And that's actually my bestseller too. So it is called Finding Purpose, Women's Devotional and Prayer Journal. And I wrote it in 7 days, got it edited, and then I published it on Amazon, and I did pre-orders. I pre-sold like 60 copies in 2020. And then by the end of 2020, I sold 400 copies. This happened from August to December. The story that I was affirming that I would tell, the work that I was affirming that I would do, didn't actually get done until I believed that I could do it, until I believed that I was enough to get it done, until I believed that I had the ability to get those results, to write the book and reach whomever it was God called and created me to reach. And so, what do I want you to learn from this? I want you to know that affirmations alone are not going to help you generate massive impact in the marketplace. Affirmations alone are not going to help you grow your business's revenue. Affirmations alone are not going to help you be consistent. You can call yourself a multimillionaire as much as you want. You could tell yourself that you are strong and you're this and you're that you are productive and you're consistent and you're disciplined. You can remind yourself of what God's word says, that you are more than a conqueror. But if you don't believe what you're saying, then just like what happened for me in 2020, when I had that coming to Jesus moment in the bathroom, standing in the mirror, and God told me that my mindset was the weapon formed against me, causing me not to prosper, you too will have to address and overcome. You too will have to fight your mindset. You too will have to address those beliefs. Because listen to this. You know the book that's super duper popular? Everybody talks about this book. And this book is supposed to show you how to get rich, right? This book is supposed to show you how to get rich. And this book doesn't talk about getting rich with your actions. This book doesn't talk about getting rich with your relationships. This book doesn't even talk about getting rich with your words. So it's not your habits. It's not your connections. It's not your relationships. This book talks about getting rich with your thoughts. Think and grow rich. Because even if we look at the way that the world was formed, right? The way that God created everything from nothing. Before he could say, let there be light, there had to first be a thought that light already existed. You understand? Before he could say, right, let there be, there had to first be a thought that those things were able to come into being. Before I could sit down and write the book, I had to first believe that I had a book that could be written. Right? And so I was listening to Dr. Golden earlier today, and one of the things that he said was about what we can and cannot afford. As God's businesswoman, we cannot afford not to believe in the business we're building. We cannot afford not to believe in the calling of God that is on our lives. As God's businesswoman, you can't afford to believe that you won't get clients. As God's businesswoman, you cannot afford to believe that nobody on social media is looking for the work that God put you on social media to do. You can't afford to believe that your services are not desirable. You can't afford it. Why? Because your beliefs dictate your actions, and your actions dictate your results. That's why affirmations don't work. I don't believe in affirmations. Because you can affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm and affirm until you're blue in the affirmation face. But if you don't believe the things that you are affirming, then your affirmations are pointless. And you, just like I, will be saying the thing and saying the thing and saying the thing and not seeing the thing for 6 years, for 7 years, for 10 years. So it's important for you to develop the mindset to work on becoming the person who believes inherently in her business, who stands 10 toes down in the value of the work she does, who wholeheartedly believes that there are people on social media who are ready and willing and able to work with her, who wholeheartedly believes in the value of the work she does, who doesn't need to be convinced, who doesn't need to have anybody else affirm her because she's already affirmed, because you're standing fully and wholeheartedly in your kingdom assignment, because you know that you are placed by God in the marketplace and he put you here for a purpose, and that purpose was to impact the people that you are called to impact through your services. The woman who believes that her services are valuable at a premium value and who does not believe that she has to undervalue the work she does to get clients. Affirmations alone don't get results unless you believe in the thing you're affirming. Before something can be, it has to first be a thought, right? I'm going to share a picture with you guys of our living room. And this picture is literally a representation of what it is I'm teaching you about today. And so this picture was before we moved here from Illinois. We were still back home in our town, like our one-level townhouse. I call it an apartment sometimes, but it was really a townhouse because we had a garage. And I had a picture from one of my friends who had already come to Georgia, and she was looking for a place too. And so she sent me pictures of the different rooms in this house. She was thinking about getting this house for her family, but she ended up not getting it, and she recommended that we move here. So she sent me a video, sent me some pictures, and so I took the picture of the living room, and I thought about how I wanted the living room to be set up. And because I'm a visual learner, right, and even the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain, I opened up the tools on my iPhone, and I drew pictures with my fingers of where I wanted things to go in the living room. So when I post the picture, you'll see I drew a picture of the TV against the wall. I drew a picture of the TV stand. I drew a picture of the couch and the pillars I want on the side of the TV, so that I could visualize what I wanted, right? And then when we went to the store, we started looking for those pieces. But in order for me to go to the store and look for those pieces, I first had to have the thought, and believe that this is how my living room is going to look. And literally everything you see on this picture is exactly what our living room looks like today. So I'm going to do a side by side so you can see how I drew it and then what it looks like. Even our house looks exactly like the house I put on my vision board. And remember I said this is not even a house that we found. This is a house that my friend found for her family, right? And then her family decided not to move here. And literally this house looks just like the house that I put on my vision board earlier that year. So I want you to be more intentional, not just about the words you speak, but about the thoughts you think. Because your thoughts create your words and your habits and your results. It's your thoughts that help you get to where you want to go. Your thoughts are a reflection of your beliefs. And your beliefs are the driving force behind your habits. And your habits are the contributing factor to your results. So if you want different results, you want better clients, you want to be able to show up on social media and amplify your authority and work with the people you know God put you here to work with and impact for His glory, then you need to be more intentional about what you are thinking. You need to become a better steward of your thoughts. Don't just affirm what you want to see. Don't just affirm who you want to be. Believe that that's who you are. Develop the beliefs that that's who you are. And then put in the work to become that person. That's how you get better results.